Just be prepared to talk to your kids about death after this movie, just a heads up. Dreamworks is back with The Wild Robot, and you've probably seen the previews, you've been a little intrigued, perhaps enticed by the visuals, but if you're like me, you're also wondering what is this movie about? Like, okay, robot in the wilderness, it befriends animals, but how does that fill up an hour and a half? And how do I trust this company after Ruby Gillman, after another freaking Trolls movie, and then, insult of insults, after Kung Fu Panda 4? We're not even talking about Megamind 2. Well, let me give you the good, the not so good, the parental warnings, and most importantly, the kids' scores. And in return, I would ask that you give me a push of that like button. Alright, so Wild Robot has a lot going on, which is probably why the trailers are a bit confusing. It's almost like a movie and a sequel in one. The first half is the robot, Roz, voiced by Lupita Nyong'o, who is a helper bot lost during transport and wakes up on an island. She wants to find a task to complete, because that is her job, and she ends up with a gosling. Nope, a baby goose. An unpopular local fox, Pedro Pascal, who, I'm guessing just doesn't sleep at all for all the work that he's doing. Is he on drugs? Is he like 2-3 addies a day? Anyway, the fox wants to eat the egg, but helps her raise the goose instead. And they become a sweet little found family with a literal ugly duckling storyline, and they're trying to get the little fella to fly with the other geese by fall, or he'll die. Everyone here is very comfortable with death, by the way. This is a full story, full arc, but wait, there's more. That's just part one of this duology, because in the second half, all the animals of the island have to get along to survive the winter. And then, when the robotics company shows up with murder bots to take Roz away, they have to fight together to save Roz and the forest. There's like 7 plots going on here. In the end, it is super wholesome, and there are some real emotional moments, some laugh out loud comedic bits, but I won't lie, it takes a minute to get there. The trouble with having an emotionless robot as your sole character for a while is that you can't get emotionally invested with them because they don't have any. She's trying to figure out who ordered her, and she needs a task to complete, but all the animals are running away. It goes on for a bit. But once she becomes a mother, through some death, more on that in a bit, and finds the fox, then it's sweet. I will caution anyone who has kids who are about to leave the nest or have done so recently, just really all parents, have tissues on hand, okay? The music sells this one pretty hard, especially in the emotional bits, thanks to Chris Bowers. The visuals are stunning here as well. Much of the world has like a watercolor feel to it, but that's not quite it, because I don't want to give the impression that it's like ephemeral looking, but it is a little soft around the edge. It's cozy, okay? The art direction here is spot on, and the movie takes place over a 1-year period, so you're going to get all 4 seasons. The whole production really was in good hands, because the director is Chris Sanders, who's responsible for How to Train Your Dragon, The Croods, and is the voice of Stitch. This man knows what Ohana means, people. Okay, so now for the not so good. We talked about it after the movie, because there isn't anything majorly wrong with this, but something is going to nag you about this one, and I think we figured it out. It's that they explain way too much, which makes the themes hard to pull off with a robot and with wildlife that includes carnivores. All fiction requires some suspension of belief, but this one tells you too much, which makes the suspension difficult. They tell you Roz is an advanced robot, but she doesn't recognize wildlife in the beginning. They tell you where her power core is, but later she rips it out with no problem. They tell you where her memory is stored, but later she says, "Oh, I'll remember all of you animals in my heart." And the power of love does restore her memory and power her up. That's the trouble with using a robot as your character. There are certain things robots can and can't do, and try as you might, your brain will keep bugging you during the sweet parts. Hey, you know robots don't actually have a heart? You know they can't be revived by the power of love? The other issue I'm going to combine here with my parents' concern section. This one's pretty light on parental issues. No swearing, no romance, no real shown violence, no jump scares, it's not too loud, very family friendly. However, if you haven't talked about death with your kids before this movie, you will after. And honestly, that might be good. This might be a great primer for kids on the naturalness of death. Early on, Roz meets a possum mom who's tired. She's kind of giving her mom advice. At one point, she says something like, hey, look, none of us know what we're doing. We're not perfect. Look at me. I've got 7 kids. At which point, you hear an off-screen growl and a tiny little voice scream, and she says, oh, well, 6 kids. I thought it was hilarious, but I like my humor to be of the gallows variety. Now, that kid does survive, so it's not quite as traumatic, but the robot, while running away from a bear, knocks a nest out of a tree and crushes the mother bird to death and all the eggs, except for the one that she raises. It's also a bit of a plot issue as well. Like I said, they explain too much. The animals are very calm about death and the circle of life. The fox boils a crab right in front of us and chomps down on it. But that is what will make your brain keep nudging you later when they all band together to survive the winter. The theme of love and cooperation is harder to pull off when you've had dialogue about how everyone eats each other and it's normal. So there's a lot going on. 1 or 2 balls got dropped, but in the end, it really does come together. It's very sweet. This is a solid 7.5 out of 10. I think your family will enjoy it, but you don't have to believe me. Believe my kids. Here are the scores. You're in luck today. You get a bonus 7-kid review because we brought a friend. Everyone kind of said the same thing about this one. It's very sweet, it's beautiful, very heartwarming, but it somehow feels slow and fast at the same time. Like there's a lot going on, but it still feels slow. The older kids mentioned the odd dissonance with the robot who suddenly has a heart, or the animals that don't eat each other because of arousing speech. The younger kids thought the fox was very funny, liked him a lot, but they found the villainous robot at the end both sudden and really creepy. The first half of the movie is very cozy, so cozy that my 4-year-old wanted to come sit with me and fell asleep in my arms, and I got all the cuddles and the snuggles. It was extremely adorable, and I cherished every moment. And then I carried her sleeping out of the theater to the car. Easily #1 theatrical experience of the year, in my opinion. There you go. The Owen family thought it was pretty good. Maybe not perfect, but we had a very nice time. And it's an original movie. It's not a sequel. That is exciting. So, are you planning on seeing this one? If you have seen it, what did you think? Let everybody know down in the comments. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.